related concepts in chemistry. Now, let me stress, I am not an artist by any stretch of the imagination. So for this artistic analogy between the two concepts, I'm only going to use stick figures. We can compare electronegativity and bond polarity to a game of tug-of-war between element 1, here on the right portrayed as a girl, and element 2 on the left portrayed as some regular skinny guy. Now the rope in between the two elements is going to represent the amount of electrons in the bond. The knot in the middle is the midpoint of the rope, and the triangle right underneath the knot is going to separate the territories of element 1 and element 2. For example, if the knot were to go to the left of the triangle, most of the rope would then be in the territory of element 1. But in this case, since the triangle is right underneath the knot, both element 1 and element 2 share equal amounts of the rope, or equal amounts of electrons. This is what happens when the electronegativity difference is negligible in what is known as a covalent nonpolar bond. But what happens when element 1 is far more electronegative than element 2? In this case, the knot will go to the left of the triangle, most of the rope would be in element 1's territory, and element 1 would have most of the electrons. But notice here that element 2 is still hanging onto the rope. That represents that electrons are still being shared, even though most of the electrons are on the side of element 1. This is a covalent polar bond, and this occurs when the electronegativity difference is between 0.4 and 1.7. Compounds in covalent polar bonds include things like water. In this final example, we'll have a suave, sophisticated guy with a hat, a baseball bat, and all of the rope. You can tell he's up to no good. The fact that he has all the rope represents that he has pretty much stolen all the electrons in the bond. You can see later that element 2 is obviously a victim of a mugging of sorts, which is kind of analogous to how in an ionic bond, one element steals the electrons of another. They're not sharing any electrons anymore. Every man for himself. Element eat element world out there, folks. This is what occurs when the electronegativity difference is very high.